Welcome back to another edition of the Empower Hour. I am Al Kumar.
And I am Hanifa.
We are your hosts for the weekly discussion where we take 1 hour out of your busy week and we come to you with impactful topics of discussion so we can hash them out. So things that impact our everyday life. So today's hot topic is on hot topics in the news. So we will be discussing, some of the prevailing thoughts in people's minds today and what's on the lips of people this week. So, but before we do that, I want to share with you guys what we always share with you each and every week where we are. We are located inside of the eLife Media Studio, which is inside of Everlasting Life Vegan Restaurant and Lounge. That's 9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. So if you are familiar with the Prince George's County side of Maryland, we are located right off of Exit 15B, right inside of what used to be called the Hampton Mall Shopping Center. It's now Kingdom Square, right next to Fitness for Less. Come on out and join us for some awesome, great tasting, good for you foods and desserts, as well as some refreshing media and some great entertainment as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to you about the locations because Everlasting Life is their main hub of 3 different locations. There's 2 other restaurants inside of Tacoma Park section of Washington, D.C. They both are Evolve Restaurant and Lounge, which does have a full bar, and Vigoritos as well is right around the corner. So if you're familiar with where the Tacoma Park subway station sits, and you get off of that metro station and you walk a half a block up the road on the same side, you'll see a green awning and you'll walk right into there and you'll find Evolve. Same great tasting food, just a different location. And then Vigoritos is right around the corner from there, and they specialize in Mexican foods. And so you can get, again, all vegan style, great tasting food right there as well. So again, we're gonna hop right into our discussion today, and we'll loop back over and talk to you about a little later on about some other things that we have that's going on right here in the restaurant. Miss Hanifa.
Yeah, come on.
How you feeling this week?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Still in recovery.
Yeah. So I know you had that big, you guys had that big fundraising drive.
Yes, we had the fundraising
Saturday.
drive, yes, in Riverdale.
How'd that go?
It was wonderful. It was successful. It was beautiful. Everyone came out, donated, gave a helping hand. I did some face painting for the kids, which was fun. We had some food there, some music. It was just a good, testimony of unity. That it is possible.
Beautiful.
And
to do things on our own.
Yes,
that's
that we can do a whole lot if we just put our minds and our resources and our energy together to make, we can make a lot happen.
Yeah.
So that sort of was a testament to that on Sunday. So it was just a beautiful sight to see, and
beautiful.
Yeah, appreciate all the people that came out and dropped off things and donated, whether it was monetary donations or just through clothing and different requested items. We definitely appreciate it. I know there are going to be other drives that are coming up. And I also know that because they're opening the airport hopefully sometime this week in St. Thomas, that it's going to change a lot of the dynamics as well, where people are going to be able to bring things in and travel out of the island if they wanted to leave out. So we're still rebuilding in the Virgin Islands, and one day at a time, one step at a time. We're resilient people. So
yes, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And my weekend was busy here around the restaurant. We had 2 huge events, one Friday and then another Sunday. So, my weekend was spent right here working. We had Dr. Laela Africa. He came in on Sunday.
I missed that.
Yeah, and then Friday we had a huge concert that they do annually, a tribute to John Coltrane. So I was here working for that as well. So, yeah. Hot topics.
Okay. I don't want to start with mine.
Why?
Because it's a lot. Because we're going to go into all sorts of other things. If we even start with this, we may not even get to the others. So let's start with the others.
Okay. Well, good idea. So let's start with some of the topics that are not so popular out there.
Not so hot.
They're not so hot, but that should be, Like, for instance, have you guys heard that the STD record, there's a record number of cases of sexually transmitted diseases in the U.S.? It just topped an all-time high. Do you believe that? Yeah, I just read that and CNN did a report on that. So be careful, family out there. We are hitting record numbers of STDs in this country, and they say the largest amount of people who catch the diseases are between the ages of 15 and 35.
Wow.
So it's the young folks.
Yeah, millennials.
The millennials, which is interesting because they mentioned that, like, I believe it was syphilis or gonorrhea. One of them, I can't remember exactly which one, were were obsolete at one point. They kind of the whole penicillin thing kind of took care of that, just like we used to have to take polio vaccinations and stuff, where penicillin was supposedly had taken care of one of those diseases almost to the point where it was annihilated. But now for all of a sudden they said it just came back in droves. Yeah, and it's spreading rapidly. And they said that a lot of it.
So the penicillin is no longer a treatment?
That's a good question. They said the bulk of the spreading is coming from what you guys could probably guess. Homosexuality, gay men are one of the largest conductors of these transmitted diseases spreading these days. So be careful. That's one thing. What else I have? Oh, did you guys know that Saudi Arabia, women now can drive in Saudi Arabia? I don't mean to laugh. Congratulations to the ladies over in the Saudi.
They fought for that.
They fought hard, and I think it was because that's something that we all on the front of our minds whenever we think about Saudi Arabia and the kind of women's rights over there. Right. It's like women still can't even drive. Well, as of today, I think they just passed a law a week ago or something that women are now able to drive in 2017. Turn that down. I can hear my echo. If you don't mind. So they're able to drive. But what I found interesting about this story was that because they have a new what do they call them? A crown prince. It would be like the president of Saudi Arabia. He's a crown prince, and he's young. He's 32 years old, and he took office about 4 months ago. And now they're passing all these laws to make it more gender friendly, I guess. And this is one of them. But what I found interesting was it really the law ain't had nothing to do with the rights of women. It was they're attempting to revamp the economics in the country. And they know that women, because women can't drive, wasn't able to drive, that didn't allow them to work. Right. So they're wanting to revamp up the workforce and have more women in the workforce. And
put more money into the economy.
Right. Because it was like a third of the women, when they did the studies, a third of all the women were spending their money to pay for drivers who were working.
To be transported.
Right. So now the economy is affected because of this. Right. So they're changing this law to help boost up the economy.
It's very interesting, and that's very interesting because you often see that a lot of times where we have these changes, whether even here in the United States, and we celebrate it like this is a progressive move, and oftentimes it's very calculated, very strategic, right? Very strategic political move. Yeah. And you're thinking the minds have not changed as far as the place of a woman. Right? So we're thinking, wow, minds are changing, but not really.
Right.
Because it's like, at the end of the day, the economy of this country is more important than how I feel about women at the end of the day. Money at the end of the day, right?
It's interesting.
Yeah, so it's still the same way even in America. We still do it in politics.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why you run into people, you're like, I thought that, we were progressing, and you realize we're dealing with it right now with Trump, right? Where all the racists came out. And then everyone is taken aback and like, oh my gosh, I thought we were moving forward past all of that, and it's like, no,
you just didn't understand the underlying.
No, you just push things forward for political purposes, and that's it.
Right.
You're not really dealing with the root of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Another quick topic in the news I wanted to mention, a lot of people aren't familiar with, is these floods in Bangladesh. A third of Okay, yes. Thank you, Roland. The hotline number, if you guys want to call in with your own hot topic, what's on your mind, what's important to you this week, call us at 240-455-5934. That's 455-5934. We appreciate that, because sometimes we aren't able to get to all the comments.
Yeah.
So if you have something that's really, pressing on your heart and you want to share it with the people, call in and get it out. Oh, another quick topic I wanted to mention. The floods in Bangladesh. Do you know a third of, is that a country? I don't know. I am ignorant to geography. I just did not. All right. Yes, I'm never good at geography. But if it is a country, that a third of that country is underwater, that there's the flooding in Bangladesh is more severe than in Houston, and a third, and it's already a poverty-stricken nation. And so they had over 200 people dead, 8 million people affected. It said they're big on the rice industry over there. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of the cultivating of rice and agriculture. That what did I write? I think it's 40% of the population works in agriculture. And so all that's affected. So their economy now is crushed. Because of this flood. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because they can't do the whole rice harvesting and all that kind of stuff.
I think Bangladesh is right next to India.
Okay. I knew it was near India.
It's next to India.
I just didn't know if it was a country
it is.
or...
It is. Okay. India is a country.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So we should know about these things. There's certain things like this that's not shared with us in the news. And I think it's just important for us to... Right. Mm-hmm. Good point. Mm-hmm. Right. For us to know more than what this mainstream media is saying, because it's not going to tell you but what they want you to know.
Absolutely. And that's something we need to bear in mind.
Right.
Why are you telling me what you're telling me right now? What is the agenda? Mm-hmm. What is the purpose of this information that you're feeding me right now?
Right.
But we don't really dissect things like that because we trust...
Yeah.
We trust government, we trust the media, we trust all of these institutions that are in place.
Right.
And that's a part of the problem.
Right.
No matter how many times they failed us, we still get up and still continue to trust.
That's right.
I don't understand that. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I really do think it's a level of insanity that somebody keeps on giving you and showing you reasons why you shouldn't trust them, but you do it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I look at
all your trust into and your children. Yeah. It's like you sacrifice your children to these people as well. Mm-hmm. It's
I think I always say our people are in a domestic or a violent, abusive relationship with this country. We really are. And that's the whole Stockholm syndrome that we talk about oftentimes, where it's just like we begin to become patriotic and defend it, and but I love country, and no matter how many times country don't love us back. It's a weird relationship. It really is.
It is weird.
It is very, very. It's disturbing.
It is. It's mentally disturbing when you really break it down. It's mentally disturbing, and when somebody tries to point it out, we become something's wrong with us. Something wrong. Wait, no. I can show you. I can lay out the history and show you why you shouldn't trust these people. Yeah. You know,
it's the dynamics it's really one of an abusive relationship to where I could if you're talking to someone and they're sharing with you, Alkema, you know, he beats me, and you know, and then it's like you're like, you should leave. He doesn't love you. And their response is, yes, he does, because he does all these other things for me, right? And so the black eyes and the busted lips and, you know, the drag through, the drag through the mud, it goes out of the window because we focus on all the things the good things that this person also provides for us. That is the relationship that our people have with the United States of America.
Yeah, we get caught up in the random acts of kindness.
And we're okay with crumbs, because for us, it's not crumbs. We see it as, well, at least she's feeding us. But it's crumbs.
It's sad. And not understanding that life can be so much more better if we decided to sever our relationship with this insanity.
We do not see it. It's almost like we cannot envision ourselves beyond. It's like America, the culture that America has created has become our glass ceiling. It's like we cannot dream beyond that. You know, it's like we can't see ourselves beyond that. Absolutely. And this is why I'm always like, we need to get the minds of the youth, because a lot of us, we are far gone. Some of us too far gone.
To ever understand it.
Yes, we need to really grab on to the minds of our youth and teach them. You know, and if you can't teach them, put them in places where they could be taught. What they need to know.
For the future. If not for you, like I said, if not for you, if you don't want a better life,
absolutely,
then at least allow your children the opportunity to have a better life and a better existence. I agree. And what comes to mind when I hear you is that that famous phrase from Maya Angelou, I know why the caged bird sings. Gosh, that's so powerful. She was a powerful woman.
Yes, she was.
Really, in and of herself. I would love to go into her life story, you know, one day, because, you know, she was a powerful figure.
She was an interesting woman.
Very.
She really owned the space she was in.
Very.
She really did, because I was watching the documentary on her, and I loved Maya Angelou. It's because of her I got into writing poetry. She was one of those people, and Muta Baruka, he's a Jamaican poet. And I watched recently when I watched the documentary, and I did a lot of things that were in there I did not know about her. You know, especially like her relationship life. It was very interesting. Like, I think she was married like twice or three times or something like that. And just even her thought process on it was just really very mature. And
you know, just real quick on Maya, Dr. Angelou, I pieced together, I'm wondering if, you know, when she was young, she stopped speaking she was like 5 years old. She went mute for a long time, for like years. 5 years or something. And I'm like, wow, I wonder if that added to her introspect.
Because she didn't just go mute. While she went mute, she was also feeding her brain.
She
was taking in all, like, no, she would go to the library and sit and read all sorts of books. Like, she was exposed to all sorts of literature, and she was just taking that in. So when the time came for her to speak, she had so much to say. She was so loaded.
And just think about it. If you're not talking, then that means you're listening to everything. You're not feeding back anything. So you're taking in everything, and so naturally, so you're more introspected, because everything you're getting is coming in and not going out. And so I'm sure that has something to do with the power of her voice in her life. That pivotal moment when she went mute.
But we need to. I was going to say, we definitely need to, you know, put into perspective the power of the media, and that our media in America feeds us what they wants us to know for their own purposes and their own agenda. We need to get that. And then we also, I always say this, I'm going to keep saying it, we understand propaganda, but we act like we don't. Because we have been some of the main victims in this country of propaganda. for somebody else's agenda.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And historically speaking, just going back to the transatlantic, the slave trade.
Yeah.
How you got to think, how do you get all these people on board? You know, because once you start tapping into the sciences and then literature will go out, you know, when science says that these people are inferior, we're not just saying it, but now we got some people that can prove it. And you put it in the literature, propaganda, on top of propaganda, you know, on top of propaganda. They're uncivilized, yet you are bringing your uncivilized self into these countries and you are murdering and pillaging these people and still putting it out there that they're uncivilized. So in order for us to enslave you, we have to convince the rest of the world that you are worthy of enslavement. And that is what propaganda is. So when the American media is feeding us things of other countries, we need to be leery of that.
Break it down.
What is it that they want from there?
Break it
Because
down.
why do you have to convince me that this person is so bad?
We ain't done a thing to you. I'm looking at a guy over there in North Korea. What did he do to us?
Yeah.
What did he? I'm talking about black people here in America. What did that young man ever do to you?
Right.
But we will hate him because the media says hate him. It's
Absolutely.
deep.
Absolutely. Yep. Just to say that we're American.
It's deep.
It's
Yeah. It's deep. Like I kind of the propaganda you speak of. What comes to my mind, for instance, a good example of is Puerto Rico right now.
There we go.
Puerto Rico right now is in shambles, in complete and total shambles, almost near destruction, and people over there suffering and things. And I'm listening to the reports of the people on the street, the live reports of coming from the people on the ground there, right? So I'm listening and watching this and reading this. I'm like, wow. And I happen to be watching the news here in the the restaurant the same night, right? And somebody's on the news. Yes, America's doing a great job of getting the help Puerto Ricans need. And the total, complete opposite of what the people on the ground in Puerto Rico is saying. The news is telling you everything's fine, no worries, we got this. Oh, the Puerto Ricans are good. They're happy to, we're getting them what they need. I said, wow. That's why I don't watch it. That's why I don't watch it, because if you watch it too long and too often, you start to believe it.
And you start to think exactly what they want you to think.
Yeah. That subconscious mind.
Yeah. And I mean, Puerto Rico is a territory. Where I'm from is also a territory. And me being born a quote unquote U.S. citizen, but also being born in the Virgin Islands, we kind of have this whole dichotomy going on where it's we're U.S. citizens, but we're also Caribbean people culturally, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are really starting to rethink that and really understand what that means. A territory in what sense? The territory is the land. Do they necessarily care about the people? That has become the topic of discussion now, and it's something that we really need to revisit and start talking about.
Yes, it's been colonized like every other place. It's been colonized, and it's interesting because remember the one I sent you that video via inbox about the sister in Puerto Rico? I watched her and I was like, wow, she's really been trained well. She was really just advocating on behalf of we're all American citizens and and she slipped. And she said because the colony of Puerto Rico, then she said, oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't. It's not a colony. She called it something else. I said, wow, she's been trained well. She's been trained well.
Probably,
to get
did she call it a territory?
I forget what it was, but she retracted her mention. I said, but it is a colony. Say what it is. But, we're so scary. We're so scared, to offend and all. It's just deep.
I think some of us are coming out of it, though, of that scaredness that you're talking about. I think some people are speaking up and trying to step out of those, boundaries that have been put in place for us. We didn't put them there.
Right.
They were put there for us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think a big part of it too, I know where I'm from, is we really need to take on a mindset of self-sufficiency.
Yes.
That is the issue. Push that whole agenda of support your own.
Yes.
Push it, start supporting each other, start building each other up. Stop with the whole mindset of lack and scarcity. There is
and
enough
somebody
for
else
us.
come save me.
Right, and exactly the welfare mindset, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Some there's enough to go around. You know what I mean? So I read somewhere where someone said we often talk about the crab in the barrel mindset, but have we ever stopped and asked why are crabs even in a barrel? They're outside of their natural habitat.
That's right.
Who created the barrel and put them in there? So we talk a lot about the crabs in the barrel, but it's like, why are they even in there?
Yep.
To even be fighting and pulling each other down like that.
Right.
You know, so we don't go that deep in our thinking.
That's right.
So then now we start focusing on each other. You know, the crabs does start focusing on each other. Well, you get up there. No, I'm going to pull you down because, you know. But that's from a place, I always say it's a place of lack. That thinking where we think there's not enough to go around.
Yeah. Like rats in a cage, and then the cage handler. You were in a cage with all the rats, and the rats fighting each other, but the cage handler goes unscathed.
We have to shed that
unscathed
dependency
it
mindset.
Is.
But the government has done exactly what it's there to do. To put something in place to where you feel like you can't do without the government. You know what I mean?
Right.
I always think about the whole, I don't have an issue with people using assistance, right? I've seen people use it and get off of it.
I was one.
Okay? My issue becomes where you don't realize that it can also be a trap.
Yes, it can.
To keep you in poverty.
Yep. Generational trap.
Generational trap. For example, you would have families that say, okay, they went on it. They stayed on it. They raised their kids on it.
Right.
Okay. So then guess what happens? So now you're talking about environments. If poverty not only breeds crime, right? It breeds risky behavior amongst our youth. So now you have a lot of teen parents, right? A child is now 18 years old. She did not graduate college. None of those things. What do you think the advice from her mom is? Go sign up for exactly. So then it becomes this cyclical thing, right? It becomes a cycle, generational, you know. Right. So and also too, I've seen people where it's like, I don't want to make this amount of money because I don't want to stop getting this assistance. It's such a trap, you know, and it's just like, it's time for us to just kind of get out of the whole dependency mindset, you know, and that even trickles over into what our big hot topic is as well.
Yeah, and I see that a lot now with all these disastrous storms going on. The first thing we scream is, where's FEMA? Help! You know, bring the help. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that, okay, yeah, we do need help in whatever way we can get it, but it's like that's our one and only thought.
Do we ask ourselves where places like Haiti, who is independent, Cuba, who were hit by these hurricanes, what are they doing?
Ooh, let's talk about Cuba. I so admire the way they run that
let's talk
country.
about how what are they doing?
I so admire. When I read that they turned all the electricity off before the storm hit, I was like, damn, that's intelligent. They turned all the electricity off in preparation for the storm, so there won't be so much damage electricity-wise when it's over. I was like, well, duh, that's common sense. But, you know, and what they were able and capable to do despite not having so many resources. So never was in poverty. It's not a, you know, you hear all this stuff about being in poverty.
But that's the propaganda.
Cuba's not poverty.
That's the propaganda.
They don't have the resources that America has, because America can go worldwide, basically, because they the big, strong arm powerhouse, so they can get whatever they want. You know, we can get whatever we want here on these shores. But and Cuba wasn't able to do that because of sanctions that America put on them.
Same thing with Haiti.
Right. So they can't get the resources from other countries like we can, but they make it happen. Yeah,
amongst
and still
themselves.
They eat. Everybody literacy. Everybody's the literacy rate is very high. Healthcare is free. They good on
they
that.
Have the best doctors in the entire world.
So we look like, you don't have a Mercedes Benz in a 3,000 square foot house, so you're in poverty.
We really need to. That's the thing. Even with these disasters, that's what I've been. For me myself, I feel like I've been feeling like I'm pregnant. You know, to where it's like, okay, when is this going to come out? Because I feel like I'm loaded with stuff and I just don't really know how to, you know? And it's one of the things that has been happening is really rethinking what we consider to be important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're saying, you know, American mindset is a very shallow and materialistic. The Western mindset, period, is very shallow and very materialistic. The things that we place value in are things that are temporal.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like things that get surface things, you know? And so all of these things that are happening, you know, where we realize we're not exempt. It can come knocking on our doors tomorrow. You really have to start reevaluating the things that you find important. You know, invest in people. People.
Come on.
People.
Come on.
Your people.
The
specifically.
Side.
Yes.
The spiritual side of things.
Yes.
Because like you said, you know, tomorrow you can, everything you worked all hard to obtain and achieve can be wiped out. Ask a Floridian, or ask someone over down in Texas.
Yes.
Or ask a Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? That's real. That's real. And we think we look at them like, oh, poor them, but like you said, these storms are increasing.
Yes.
They're increasing in magnitude, and we get hurricanes and things like that on this side of the earth. We're not exempt, you know.
It's to just get our people to recognize their strength in unifying.
Yes.
It's to really get unifying, not just we coming together and singing Kumbaya, but combining resources, right? We talked about co-op living the other day. You know, if we have to, where families come together and combine their income and their resources, you know, because if that's what works in the times that we're in, then we need to make it happen.
Right.
Let the ego is really what's destroying us. The ego is what's destroying us.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to live with my mama.
Yeah. I want to share what I don't work so hard for. No.
I'm a grown woman.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man. What I look like?
You can have your feet all up on my couch. I spent $5,000 for that couch.
Yeah, because we've bought into the whole idea of this is what success looks like. And this is what makes you somebody. And so it's like, I need to be able to have the houses, the cars, the degrees, the accolades, and all of these things because I really, really don't know who I am. And because they say that these things will make me somebody, I'm going to take that route because we really, really don't know who we are. When you know who you are, those things do not matter. This brother came to do a presentation with the other night on Monday, and he was just talking about his wife and himself. They don't really support. They support straight black businesses. He said the only the only thing that they buy, and he said it has to it's really gas for the car.
Yeah, buy from Europeans.
He's even talking about
culture.
He's even talking about the clothing that he wears and all of those type of things. And he was really giving some good nuggets.
He was
on Monday. Yes.
Y'all want to see that whole presentation? It's on the Irritated Genie's page. I shared it too on my page. That was from Monday. Baba Cambone, I believe I'm pronouncing his name right. It was. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, we have to start changing the way that we think.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
Yeah, as far as our place in this world. And like he was saying, everything that we do needs to have an end goal. So I was just talking to a sister today, and she's talking about going to law school. She already has a master's in social work, and she's talking about going to law school. And so we were discussing a few things, and she said, I'm having an issue with the way the system is handling our people. And it's a struggle, and it's disgusting. And because it bothers me so much, I feel like I need to infiltrate, and I need to do something about it. So that's with the law. She said, because we have to change policies, because these policies are what's destroying our children. You know, so that was her angle. That was how she decided she's going to fight. All of us, we should have an angle on how we're going to, you know what I'm saying, engage in this war.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago at a lecture and listened to an all-women panel, and that's what I love about PLM. Shout out to Pan-African Liberation Movement up in Baltimore because they really do things, they are so far ahead. But anyway, they had an all-women panel lecture going on, and I can't remember all the sisters' name, but one of the questions at the end came up. A woman asked the elders, she said she's in medical school, and she knows that a lot of the things that she's being learned and trained to do, it goes against her core values, like immunizations and other things, offering things that the current medical system here, Western medical system here, and she knows that there's better routes and other alternatives, but she's in this medical school, what should she do? You know, how does she navigate that? And one of the elders told her, get all the information you can get. Go through that schooling, get it, come out and she said and do your own practice. Practice to, do naturopathic, do something that's going to help, that's going to benefit your people and not aid in their destruction. But her thing was that, get all the information and use it to help build up your people. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting. Where do you want to take this? Jerry Rice taking 2 knees. He didn't take a knee.
He did 2 over the top.
Is that what I say his name right?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones. Joe. Okay, I can't say the man. Jim Jones.
Jerry Jones.
You said Jerry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Jones. Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones took 2.
Somebody always have to be extra.
Took 2 knees.
He gonna do that extra. He did his extra. What do you call it? What do you call it? Extra point assignment. The extra points, when they give you assignment in school, and you're like, I'm just going to do the extra points one because I just want 5 more points added on to my A. Chill, bro. You got an A already. There's no plus.
Oh, they ripped into him so hard on Twitter, man. I had a real hard laugh.
And I think Ray Lewis, too.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm thinking about? Ray Lewis? Who am I talking about, y'all? I can't even remember the dang old man's name. That's how.
I don't want to grab the mic. Well, Jerry Jones is the head football coach at.
Oh, Ray Lewis. Okay.
Ray Lewis.
No, I'm talking.
Took the 2 knees.
Yeah, on the
people were like,
field.
They're talking about taking the statue down. They're writing a petition.
Both of them.
How you go?
Take a statue. He done pissed black folks off.
But he's a good example of the menticide. Mm-hmm. The menticide that goes on when we get so caught up in this whole system. Because we, on one side, we think, they love us and we, the flag and, da-da-da-da-da. And then on another side, I guess he got beat up so hard for going, so against. It's almost like treason for me. That's the way I look at it. It's like treason when you get out there on the public, you got that public platform and you use it to help keep white supremacy raised. You know what I'm saying? You saying things that go against the support of your own people. Mm-hmm. And so he took a whole lot of heat for that, which he should. I think that's what we need to do. We need to beat these people down to a pulp, the ones that look like us and always going against, what's in our best interest. You know what I'm saying? That's an illness. It's treason.
And I personally feel like some of these people are used as distraction.
Without a doubt.
Because this is history. They have always figured out whenever it's anything to do with our people, and this goes way before even slavery, where you're talking about imperialism and colonization, where they figured out a way how to use our own people to fight against us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, as a part of their weapon of warfare, they include people who look like us.
Right.
So I'm starting to even think like some of these people, like, can I even trust you?
Right.
You're sort of a distraction, because I feel like this whole thing, like I was telling you when I text you, I feel like the whole thing have been trumped.
Yeah.
Completely changed the narrative, sent it in a completely different direction than what its initial purpose was.
Right.
Kaepernick taking the knee had nothing to do with the anthem, the flag. How did we even get here? No, but how did we get here? And then some of us are jumping on this train.
Projection, because the European has done so much damage to us as a people, so much damage. Imagine having to look at yourself in a mirror after knowing that your ancestors and today, I hear a lot of Europeans say, well, that was back then. I had nothing to do with that. I can't be responsible for what my ancestors did back then. Well, but this racism still going on today. Mm-hmm. We still getting killed in the streets today. Mm-hmm. We still getting lynched today. So what do you all this talk about? That was then.
But it's very interesting because when we're talking about these issues and it comes to oppression on so many different levels, systematic, all of that, right?
Yeah.
We like to say, well, it's not all of us, but when it comes to anything negative having to do with our people, we are generalized immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
We don't get the opportunity to say, well, it's not all of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Right.
whenever we start talking about these things, you always this whole white fragility. It's very interesting. They don't even take the time to hear. They're so busy trying to defend. Well, not me.
Projection.
Well, it's not me. It's not my family. Not the Georges.
Yeah, projection. That's what it is. Like I said, because if you start to dig too deep into your own lineage, and sometimes you're right there with, and then you're benefiting off stolen land.
Absolutely.
How can you sit there and say, I'm innocent, I ain't got nothing to do with this, but you sitting on 400 acres of land that was once a plantation? You know what I'm saying? You still benefit. You got money that's been passed down to you from generation to generation off the backs of my ancestors picking cotton in the fields and stuff. And you to this day are comfortable and privileged because of all that we had to do for nothing. But you sitting there talking about, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
And we don't even have to get into even prior to even slavery, just the stolen goods from the motherland that we find now in museums that was stolen.
To this day,
someone is profiting off of that. Whole families are wealthy.
To this day,
generational wealth. You know what I mean?
This day.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the white privilege.
Yeah. I don't think it's a conversation we really. I think that's the reason why the conversation is so touchy about race in this country is because this country have not answered for a lot of its wrong.
Because they're busy projecting.
Yeah.
How you gonna answer something if you busy denying that
projecting
you are
and deflecting
that's the issue.
and deflecting? And deflecting, right? So it becomes you're the problem. Fix you, and fix you, and then you can easier work with us because we don't need to be fixed.
That's it.
We are the good guys
That's
here.
it.
That's
it. That's it.
Yeah.
And the media helps that narrative,
right,
to be all widespread, and to the point where we believe it ourselves. We start believing it ourselves.
We internalize it, and with that internalization comes the action that you see amongst our people. Now, because once you internalize something, it's going to manifest itself in your life. One way or the other, it's going to find an outlet. Anything that's internalized is just like what they say: you are what you eat, right? So anything you put into your mind, to your psyche, right, it's going to be manifested. And I always say, even the way we raise our kids, you could tell that we've internalized a lot of these things, a lot of these negative stereotypes that's been, put out there about us. But even with the Kaepernick kneeling thing, let's get back to the fact that this was about police accountability.
Right.
Can we do that?
From the get-go.
From the jump, okay? When we start out with Philando Castile, right? Eric Garner, Mike Brown, Rekia Boyd, Sean Bell, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray. I mean, we can go on and on. This is what this is really about.
Right.
This is not about Trump calling somebody a son of a bee.
Right.
This is not about the anthem. I don't even know why we care that much about that. This is not about the flag. For goodness sakes, people wear the flag as bikinis. And you talk about disrespect. Because someone is kneeling, which they're in their right to do. They're in their right to protest when they feel that there's an injustice. But let's not get distracted. Let's not get distracted about what this is really about. It's about holding police accountable.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And I feel like somehow we've gone somewhere else. And I don't know why. I don't even know why as black people, rolling with that.
Media, tell you that's the most powerful weapon they have against us. We don't even understand. I want to do a show straight just on that alone. It's the most powerful weapon against us today. That media, that's why it's been rerouted. And because we watch it, and like you just got finished talking about how whatever goes in, must come out. What goes up must come down. Right. That's the polarities, the laws of nature. You can't get around that. Gravity, you can't get around that. And so your mind is always working.
It's interesting. We're trusting the same media that is a weapon against and that is a weapon towards the destruction of black people, our people. But we trust this media, right, to give us information.
Good teaching. Yes,
but it's the same thing that's used to destroy us.
That's the insanity. We are meant to side. It's an insanity.
Yes, statistics show that, the media pushes more positive images of white people and more negative images of black people. This is a deliberate thing.
All day long.
But somehow we sit back and we say, well, they said that on the news today. We have those conversations. Well, that's what they said on the news, so it must be true. Well, they say a lot of things about us on the news. Yeah. And when we dig deep enough, we find out it's not true.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So we got to start thinking.
Yeah.
We really, for ourselves, stop allowing people to tell us how to think.
That's right.
Or what to think. We have to start thinking for ourselves because it's killing us.
It is. It is. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally and physically, it's killing us and our children. It's like if you want to keep on letting them feed your mind and letting them treat you like a robot, then okay, you have that choice. But damn, don't you want your children to have a better life? Don't you want to set them up in a better course? We push our children right into public schools. We set our children right in front of the TVs. We feed our children all the junk and garbage that we know that's killing them and destroying their minds. Why do we do that to ourselves? It's like a suicide
Because
mission.
we feel like we have no other choice. This is the dependency thing that we're talking about. We feel like we have no other choice. Really, really, in the minds of a lot of us, we really don't see any other way than the way that we've been given all these years.
Yeah. It's like, right. It's like dropping somebody in a Calculus class who never learned math and telling them to solve the answer. You can't. How can you solve the answer when you don't even have the basics to know how to do that? It's the same concept.
And I've been in environments.
I get frustrated at times, but you're right. I get it. You know, we can't expect people to, do what they just have no thought in mind to do.
But have you ever been in an environment where you're sitting there and the information that's being shared it's just going over your head? You're sitting there like, I have no clue what they're talking about. Absolutely no clue, right? What happens to you? It does something to your self-esteem. Sitting right there at that meeting in that environment, it's doing something to your self-esteem. And you're wishing, I just hope they don't even call on me. Just don't call on me because So there's the same thing. We're in a system and we don't really understand how the system works to our disadvantage. And so it does something to us psychologically. It put us in a defeatist mindset.
Wow.
So where we feel hopeless and helpless and we don't really know what to do.
So we tune out.
We tune out. And in many ways.
We tune out altogether because we don't want to deal with that emotion.
That escapism in our community is a real thing. But it's a real thing. And it's a real thing because it is a necessity for the survival of a lot of people. At least that's how they see it. This is the only way that I am going to survive this life.
Right.
Is to escape it.
I think
through alcohol, through media,
through church on Sunday.
Yes. Through religion, period.
Through religion, period. Through religion, period. But that whole European-fed Christianity in particular.
Yes.
Because it teaches us to just hold on. Just hold on. Jesus coming. Hold on. Don't worry about a thing.
I thought about the bending the knee thing, and I chuckled to myself because I was like, our people been on their knees all their lives. Why y'all mad now? We've been on our knees all our lives. I'm just saying, that's the truth. You know, because they're okay with you bending your knee in prayer, but not in protest.
Yeah.
We gotta think about that. You're good with, our people bending their knee in prayer to somebody, to a God that looks like you. Or even the concept of God that our people believe in. That's just doing more damage than good.
Distorted.
Yes. I could not tell you when all these disasters were happening, and I said, if I see another person come on here talking about God destroying Texas or whoever for this reason, I'm like, if he needs help, he needs a GPS, something to steer him in the direction of some folks that's probably more deserving of this whooping. I can help him out. Do not bring that in my space. Because
we did not talk about Bangladesh.
Yes.
Mexico.
So
I mean,
see, and that's
Japan.
the thing. That's the thing I don't understand. So you have
These
somebody
disasters are all over the world.
You have somebody in Puerto Rico that's praying, right?
Yeah.
Don't that the storm or the hurricane don't hit them, right?
Yeah.
And then you have somebody in St. Martin that's praying as well. And then the storm, the hurricane comes, and somehow she leads this way. And she hits St. Martin, right? And not Puerto Rico. And the Puerto Ricans are saying, God is good. All praise is due. But St. Martin was praying too.
Teach Hanifa.
So that goodness is what?
Teach Hanifa.
Selective?
Teach Hanifa.
So when we talk about these things, I challenge people, listen to what you're saying, but you know what? It's the way a lot of us are programmed in these churches to think, to speak, to act.
Yep.
You don't even realize how ridiculous that sounds.
Yeah.
Because my sister is suffering, and I'm over here celebrating and saying God is good because I was spared.
Come on. It's a narrow-minded viewpoint, and it takes over with a lack of study. When you don't study and research and understand things like natural storm progressions and how the warming of the planet, things of that nature, and you don't study those things to understand, it becomes clear. When you study, it's like clear as a bell. Oh, well, we're in the ozone layer. I know that because we're eating so much meat these days, and you can tell that. Look at us. All you gotta do is look at us. We're eating so much more meat in the ozone layer, and all that. The cows, and which is just one out of many scenarios that cause the earth, the atmosphere in the earth to become damaged, and now the ozone layer becomes thinner, and when the ozone layer is thinner, now the sun rays are more impactful. That's why you get so much heat in the summertime these days, and because the sun rays are more impactful, they hit the ocean surface, and the ocean becomes warmer, and the ocean then causes more storms because all the storms originate in the ocean. That cause more severe storming because the ocean is hotter, and you get more impactful storms. But if you don't study, it's God spared. It was God that saved me, and so
the same thing.
It's
I
science.
always go back to the example of Haiti, where because I was in church all my 20s, and you would hear, and I think for a hot minute I got caught up in it because I hadn't really studied the history of Haiti, right? And then when you do, and I go back in my mind and I hear people say, well, Haiti's in the state that it's in because of the voodoo, right? Wow. Over there, no, that's God's curse to them, right? Wow. And I was like, how can you detach the history of Haiti with it to its current situation?
Right.
How do you not understand about the powers that be that caused that
because you don't
to
know
come
history.
about? You don't know history, right? You don't know history. You don't know history. You don't know Black history.
Right.
That's the key thing.
Right.
For you as a Black person, being a Christian, right? Because most Black people are Christian first and Black second.
Right.
Their Christianity is going to supersede their Blackness.
That's true.
Okay? So you hear them say things like, oh, that's why Haiti's in the condition. They need to repent. They need to turn to God. And, all of these types of things. It's so ignorance. We have so much ignorance.
We don't study.
So it's the same thing you're talking about. Like, oh, this is what's happening because they did this. We'll find anything.
Yeah.
We'll find anything.
Yeah. My people perish due to the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And how it goes? People perish due to lack of knowledge. That's real. And that's what's happening. We are dying out here because we refuse to get the information that's here for us. Okay, if you want to call in, studio hotline number 240-455-5934. Our hot topic of the day is hot topics in the news. But, as Hanifa and I, we're both passionate people, so we kind of we'll steer and go to those hot topics. Okay, Nick Cannon. Did you see that video of Nick Cannon that went viral?
No, I didn't see. Is it a song?
It's a rap song.
Yeah. I watched some of it. Yes.
And it went. I swear, I think I had like 50 people send me that video in a 3-day span. It was very powerful, very impactful. I was like, oh, this brother been studying. He know his stuff. So yeah, and he out there. He ain't scared to shout it to the world either, what he know. And that's another thing about gaining the information and learning and understanding who you are. You become fearless. You really do. You become fearless because you know your stuff. And so you ain't scared to shout it. And yeah, so kudos to Nick Cannon. If y'all hadn't seen that, ask somebody to send you that link, because everybody on my page got it. It was going via inbox though. It didn't hit the main pages. But Nick Cannon did a viral video that was very powerful, just basically about the condition we in. You know, he taking taking white supremacy head on. So yeah. What about these black cops? Did you hear about that in Chicago? That was reprimanded for taking a picture taking a knee.
No.
Some lady walked in Chicago the other day. Some lady walked into the police station and was an advocate for Colin Kaepernick, and she asked the two cops, were they also, advocating on behalf of him? And they were like, yeah. So she was like, well, let's take a picture. And so in their uniforms, they took a knee and put the Black Power fists up. And of course, they got reprimanded. The whole thing behind that was that you cannot mix your personal views with your business, or with when you're in the uniform or something to that effect.
Okay.
And so, but what I found interesting in that story though, because they said, because I'm wondering, okay, reprimanded, what does that mean? So when I dug deeper, they said they can be reprimanded one or two ways. They can either be suspended up to 30 days without pay, or they can add on their workload without extra pay.
What happened to these cops that are getting off scot-free for killing black bodies?
Right. That's in and of itself. But I'm thinking to myself, I said, that's like a form of slavery, ain't it?
Oh, my God.
How you going to get somebody else extra work and don't pay them? That was interesting in and of itself. But yeah, so the cops are okay. They can get off scot-free, like you said, murdering and killing people. But if a cop want to stand up and take a knee, a harmless knee, they get reprimanded. That's what I'm saying. We in this belly of the beast, and we keep on dealing with this mess. Someone's calling us. Okay, let's.
I think we may have a call.
Let's see.
Am I on the air?
Yeah, caller.
Hey, sisters.
Hey,
this is Wasita.
Hey, Wasita, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. You talking hot topics? I got a hot one for you.
What you got for us?
Let's talk about this Sports Illustrated. Cannot believe it.
What?
They have a Sports Illustrated on the cover. They have the dude, Steph Curry, locking arms with LeBron James, and the commissioner, the white commissioner of the NBA. Nobody kneeling, and Colin Kaepernick isn't even on the cover. Now, I think that we should have every issue bought and have the biggest bonfire there ever was.
Okay, so I don't understand. What's the issue with that?
The issue is the cover doesn't represent the true meaning of the kneeling. Also, the cover doesn't even include the originator for this so-called movement that we're doing.
So you're saying
the totally eliminated. None of the people on the cover are even kneeling. This is the biggest joke in America.
Oh, okay. So you're saying Sports Illustrated is adding on to the media hype of this thing not, taking on a life of its own?
Exactly. Boycott their behind.
Mainstream media.
Buy every copy, burn them up. Burn them down. Boycott and burn. That's my statement for today. Boycott and burn.
Boycott and burn.
Yes, ma'am.
Sister Wasita.
I tell you, that's Sister Wasita with Sisters United. That's our close sister girl. Thank you so much, Wasita, for calling in.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Yes. I just want to mention real quick. What I wanted to mention. What did I want to mention? It was something else. We did Puerto Rico. North Korea. Oh, today they were talking up on the Hill, the Capitol Hill, about this DACA deadline. The DACA is where they stripping all these immigrants that come here from Mexico, the young food, the Dreamers Club, the Dreamers or something, where they allow them to come here. I believe it's to school, to go to school. Now, quote me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not very well versed on all what that entails. But anyway, so the DACA program, they giving these little young folks 30 days to come up with proof of citizenship, or they being shipped back to Mexico. But check this out. But in order to do that, they have to fill out this application that's $450. We talking statistics. These people wicked as I don't know what. And they have a deadline of October the 5th to do it. Or, you know what I'm saying, or they won't renew their citizenship to be able to, you know, not citizenship, or where they have like a green card or whatever.
It's a temporary. Like a visa. A temporary visa, yeah.
Or they won't renew it. If, you know, so they were fighting about that up on Capitol Hill, but I was like, wow, that's just crazy. It's like the inhumane. The
immigration process itself is very expensive too, by the way.
That they go about doing things. And I know there's a lot of us out there that'll say, oh yeah, get out, they're taking away the jobs and all that kind of stuff. Well, I'm of mine. It's just like, okay, we doing it for self. Can't nobody take nothing from you. You know, can't nobody, if you know what I'm saying? That's another thing, the whole dependency thing. Well, we need these jobs, so they taking them, da-da-da-da-da. Well, in my mind, I'm like, we fighting the same enemy. They, you know, who's to say that once they ain't finished getting rid of all the our Mexican brothers and sisters, they ain't coming for your neck.
Right.
And you maybe could have been using the Mexican brothers and sisters to help you fight this common enemy. Mm-hmm. But again, we don't, you know, I think we just so dependent. We so dependent on, you know, this system to do everything for us. And if somebody try to come and then we think the crumbs that we already have, and if we think somebody else are going to take a little crumb from us, we going to, like you said, fight against that and the rats in the cage, as opposed to going to the main one who's giving us the crumbs. Anyway. Yeah. Well, is that our Empower Hour? Yeah. That is our Empower Hour, family. Oh, God, we didn't get to any of the family's question. Can we do that really quickly? Does anybody have anything impactful to say? Etienne said, let's talk about animism, the first spiritual and religious system. Okay. Because cows produce methane gas. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for adding that. Yep, cows produce methane gas. We don't realize the things that we do, our day-to-day things that we do on a day-to-day basis that cause in these storms. You know what I'm saying? It's real. It's real. But once we, you know, dig into it, if we understand it better. Yeah. So the media is nothing more than a weapon of mass disruption. Yeah, it's the fifth. I call it the fifth arm of the military. Yep, you got the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, and the media. Yeah, and it's in every home in the nation. Yeah, it's real. It's deep. Yeah, so let's see. You should see what Shannon Sharp said concerning that. I don't know. What did Shannon Sharp say? I got to check that out. Wasita said, all of these clowns, how much did Ray Lewis get paid to look like a fool? Sometimes they'll do it for free. I remember they were saying, I was reading how who got set up. One of our activists got set up. Oh, the brother, Black Panther Party brother that they ran in and killed.
Hampton?
Yeah, Fred Hampton. And they shot and killed him up. And when the story came out and all the facts came out, kind of find out the dude who snitched on Fred Hampton got $300.
That's it.
$300.
Is he a crackhead?
He may have been. But that just goes to show you that our own people.
Someone is asking about the Pan-African Liberation in Baltimore.
Where they at?
They're saying, where is it? Where is
PLM, Pan-African Liberation Movement. Ooh, how can you get it? Because they don't do a whole lot of broadcasting, and they go to work.
Do they have any website or anything?
I don't know.
You could probably Google them maybe and see something comes up.
Inbox me if you're on my page. Inbox me. Let me know what it is you're interested in, and I'll redirect you to the right sources for that. Okay. All right, family. So we appreciate y'all all chiming in. And until next week, we'll be back with you. Same time, different topic. Peace.
Because intelligence is so expensive. Yeah. While we're building a smarter planet, it's legal. Yeah. One crime at a time. Somebody just mugged the eagle.
We got to be careful with the words that we use. If we choose to be wounded healers rather than wounded hurters, we need words of encouragement, words of gentleness, words of kindness, words of ennoblement. Yeah, we want these young brothers and sisters of all colors to broaden their horizon, connect the three dimensions of time, your past, your present, and your future. You got to respect yourself, have confidence in yourself. Who told you to doubt yourself? Who told you you can't soar like an eagle? Who told you that you ought to demean yourself? Straighten your back up. When you straighten your back up, you're going somewhere, cause folk can't ride your back unless it's bent. Stand the way Slide Stone said stand.
You say you got a smartphone, and you can't be dumb, but you're still making dumb decisions. You're acting like you're full grown, then you gotta be on the one when you still need your mama's permission.
Always have a deep sense of connection to the past, a subversive memory that constitutes wind at your back. You are who you are because somebody loved you, somebody cared for you, somebody attended to you. Make sure that love flows through you. That's what it means to keep love on the one. Young folk, we love you. We know you can be grander than you are. And we know that the funk means it's not just about the fun, but the K. And the K is about knowledge, and the knowledge about courage, and the courage about service, and the service is about sacrifice.
If you wanna be free, you know yesterday's trash. And you can't be dumb. Could very well be tomorrow's fuel. Yesterday's prison. And you gotta get on the one. Could very well be tomorrow's school. And can I get a witness?
Let us never forget the words of the great Martin Luther King Jr., who said that love is the key that unlocks the door to ultimate reality. Let us understand the words of James Baldwin when he said, love forces us to take off the mask we know we cannot live within, but fear we cannot live without. That's the kind of love on the one we talking about. We want to affirm one another. We want to encourage one another. We want to uplift one another. That's why James Brown, George Clinton, that's why Aretha Franklin, that's why Theodore Pendergrass, that's why Bootsy Collins is on the one.
And if you own a ship of fools, let it be said that you're not the captain, baby.